Before that, we had a chance to interview Biden one-on-one and ask him if he plans to pack the Supreme Court with more justices if he wins. Here was that exchange.
Sir, I've got to ask you about packing the courts, and I know that you said yesterday you aren't going to answer the question until after the election, but this is the #1 thing that I've been asked about from viewers in the past couple of days.
Well, you've been asked by the viewers who are probably Republicans who don't want me continuing to talk about what they're doing to the court right now.
Well, sir, don't the voters deserve to know?
No, they don't. I'm not going to play his game. He'd love me to talk about, and I've already said something on court pack. He'd love that to be the discussion instead of what he's doing now.
Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. Make sure you, in fact, let people know you're a senator. I'm not going to answer the question.
Why wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the question is, the question
Supreme Court
is,
Justice, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Senator, with all due respect, you're not being straight with me and you're not answering my question. We have 23 days left until the election. Can Vice President Biden, can Senator Harris, his running mate, can they continue to stonewall on a perfectly legitimate question? Biden says it's legitimate. If you're elected, will you try to change one of the 3 branches of government by adding justices to the court? There haven't been any more than 9 justices, I think it's since the 1870s. It's a pretty important question. Can he hold out and stonewall on that issue for 3 weeks?
Well, Chris, for the coming week, what I'm holding out is hope that there are still 2 more Republicans who might join with the 2 Republicans who've already said, based on what they did 4 years ago in refusing to give a hearing or a vote to Judge Merrick Garland, they should not be doing this now. Senator Murkowski, Republican from Alaska, said fair is fair. If that's what we did during the election 4 years ago, now with the election already underway, with voting already happening in 27 states, 4 million votes being cast, we should not be racing ahead. I am concerned, and so are some members
but that's
of
a different,
the majority.
let me just say, and I've just got to say, that's a different issue than packing the court. That's the question, is whether or not the court should, the Senate should vote to confirm Barrett. That's different than changing the number of justices on the court.
Well, let me ask you about something that's came up in the VP debate, something that the Vice President Biden's been asked about a lot. It's where he actually stands on the issue of expanding the Supreme Court. I mean, he said that this was an answer that he would give after the election. This is a big issue. So can you just clarify, first of all, what is the answer? Does he support expanding the Supreme Court?
Well, one, that's a better question for me. I'm in Congress. It would take legislation from the United States Congress and the United States Senate to do it. But I think that Joe Biden and Senator Harris are very clear that it is a distraction. We should not be talking about a hypothetical court packing once this nominee is confirmed. When we're talking about packing, we're talking about all the judges that he is packing on the court right now. So right now, he's urging, but give me a second, he's urging the Senate to go in and spend every waking moment to confirm this judge, as opposed to, with 23 days left before an election, as opposed to passing a economic relief bill for people who can't pay their bills right now. And he packed the appellate court, the circuit court, with 50 judges. But I bet you he didn't mention that to black or brown people yesterday at his White House rally, that out of 50 circuit court judges, he couldn't find one qualified black person to sit on the circuit court. So when you talk about court packing, that's what they're doing. But to answer that question would be a distraction.
Okay, so you just said you're a member of Congress. We can ask you. You're the co-chair of the campaign. Where do you stand on the issue of expanding the Supreme Court? Are you in favor of it?
Well, actually, I just want to spend my time now, one, making sure Donald Trump loses, but two, making sure that we don't confirm this judge. Women's reproductive rights are at stake. Civil rights are at stake. And I think that that's what we should focus on, not a hypothetical, do we expand the Supreme Court.
So you won't answer that question either?
It's a question.
You won't answer that question
I think it is a legitimate question for you to ask, but it is a distraction with 22 days before the election.
I get it, and we ask Republicans those questions, but we get to ask Democrats questions too, and this is it's a simple question, And it's one, frankly, that Trump did not invent. It came from the progressives in the Democratic Party. And I thought it was odd when Vice President Biden said the other day, in response to a reporter's question, that voters do not deserve an answer on this. Of course voters deserve an answer on his position on every issue.
But we're not going to play their game. Well, he's given an answer. He's answered the question. I mean, he has probably answered this question 15 times over the course of the last week. The answer is, I am not going to play Donald Trump's game. I am not going to allow the terms of this debate to shift to a hypothetical that assumes, by the way, that we, the Democrats, are going to lose here. I mean, that's what's at the core of this argument they're making. It assumes that we're going to lose. Vice President Biden doesn't accept that. He does not accept that. He's focused on turning people out to vote, making sure their voice is heard, and making sure that they have a say in who the next Supreme Court justice is.
All right. Well, I think a serious policy question is not a game, and I don't think it's Trump's game. But Kay Bedingfield, we always appreciate you coming on the show and answering the questions or deftly sidestepping them. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
They'll know my opinion in court packing when the election is over. Now, look, I know it's a great question, and I don't blame you for asking it. But you know, the moment I answer that question, the headline in every one of your papers will be about that. Other than focusing on what's happening now.